Have you ever thought about people's experiences or cultures? Do you have questions that you'd never dare ask? You don't want to offend anyone, and yet you wonder, what if you could get some insight that helped you understand people a little more without coming across as inappropriate? With that thought in mind, we spoke with the members of the LGBT Employee Resource Group, and they gave us some common questions that come up. Some of their members also shared their thoughts on these questions. So let's listen to what they have to say, and then let's talk about it.
So the concept of a husband role and a wife role, it kind of brings to mind those traditional gender roles that I think we've outgrown as a society.
I think that most traditional marriages these days, those being hetero, male, female, they don't follow any of the structure that was from the 1950s.
But I will answer the question in the spirit with which it was intended. And one concept or analogy that I use in order to explain this subject is I recall a story that I saw once about a knife and a fork, and they represented a heterosexual couple. The knife was male and the fork was female. And they were speaking to a pair of chopsticks, and the chopsticks represent a same-sex couple. And the knife turned to the chopsticks and he was asking them, so, which one of you is the fork? And the chopsticks, of course, they found the question a little difficult to understand because really they work as a team in order to fulfill their function.
If you have two dogs in your home, which one assumes the role of the cat? It's kind of funny to look at it that way.
As far as like determining one role or the other, I personally don't know if people just talk about these two different roles in the household or whatnot, or it just becomes natural. One person seeks one role and then the other person seeks the other role. Or perhaps maybe can one person, assume both roles?
In our house, I would say that with my relationship, sure, my wife takes the lead in a lot of things, but it's what comes naturally to her since that's what she does for a living. She works in law enforcement, and so being the protector and being the nurturer is something that flows very naturally between us. But in that same respect, we share a lot of the household duties, the shopping, the laundry. It's her turn to do the laundry this week, actually.
I know that there are maybe many gay couples that like to assume those traditional roles, but as for me, in my relationship, we're both husbands.
Well, there are numerous studies proving that it isn't.
We live in a society that wants to label everything. It's what they find comfort in. And having to even address this statement makes me very emotional.
I am a church-going man, and I work hard, and I try to eat healthy. I go to the gym a few times a week. These are lifestyle choices.
To me, choice would be, choosing whether you want to grab a burger or a sushi. To me, that's a choice.
My sexual orientation has nothing to do with choice. I believe it's an innate part of who I am. Who I love and how that person falls in love with me is kind of a mystery, and I think I like it that way. It's kind of like magic.
If I were to ask you as a straight man or a straight woman right now to be gay, do it right now. Could you? It's not something that can be turned on or off with a light switch, like a light switch. It's in our DNA. It's who we are. We're born this way. Nobody ever questions a straight person when they say they're straight. In fact, you don't even have to have those conversations. For me, I knew as early as 5 years old, and it was something as simple as black and white. The sky is blue and the grass is green. The other part about this is that the acronym LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. And we often forget about our bisexual and transgender brothers and sisters in discussions like this. They also are not choosing who they are at birth.
But I would point out that there is in fact a choice involved where LGBT is concerned, and that choice is whether to express who you truly are and whether to hide it. And let me tell you, hiding it is a lot of work. It can be mentally and physically and just spiritually draining. And it's an ongoing process. Every new job, every new circle of friends that you meet, you have to make that choice whether to kind of hide who you are or to live out loud and to represent. And to me, that choice really is no choice at all, because it's just so much effort to live in the closet or live in the dark and to not be that person that you truly are.
As you can see, the answers to the questions are just as diverse as the backgrounds of the individuals who answered them. I hope you can also see that even though the questions might have been a little uncomfortable to ask, the answers weren't so scary. In the end, if we're going to build relationship with the people in our lives and understand where they're coming from, we have to talk about it.